Women in Focus, a podcast by British Naturism. Hi, and welcome to episode 2 of Women in Focus. Today, I'm talking with Fiona Discombe. Fiona was one of the first naturists I met, actually. She was at the reverse life drawing class because her and her husband were running Max's Garden Naturist Resort. Yeah, she was one of the first people I'd met. So her and her husband, they were running Max's Gardens. They've also got a travel blog. And they currently have a hotel narrowboat where they do naturist cruises. And yeah, so my next guest is Fiona Discombe. Joining me now is Fiona. She did the Women in Focus for me quite early on. So let's welcome Fiona. Hi Fiona.
Helen.
How are you?
Hi, Helen. I'm good, thank you.
Good. Well, thank you for joining us on the Women in Focus podcast. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Fiona.
Okay, so my name's Fiona. I'm 55. I live on a narrowboat in Wiltshire with my husband Michael, and I've been a naturist for over 20 years.
Wow. So how did that come about? What got you into naturism?
Well, our first experience of naturism was when I was on my honeymoon with my husband Michael, and that was over 20 years ago. And we went to a normal hotel. When I say normal, I mean a textile hotel. And it was very busy, very crowded on the beach. So we just thought we'll have a little explore and see what we can find. Went around the corner of the other beach, and there was a lovely cove with a few naked people on it, not very many. And Michael said to me, why don't we just have a go, And we sat on the beach and I looked at him and I thought, I was really hesitant because I was a bit sort of worried and a bit body conscious. And then after a while, give it a go. So I took my bikini off, straight in the water, and it was brilliant. I haven't looked back. It's fantastic.
What did you like about it?
It just felt so liberating, and it just felt so nice on my body, not coming out of the water with like a soggy costume on. When you dive naked, I don't know, it's just something. I can't really describe the feeling unless you've done naturism. You can't describe it. It's beautiful. It's a really, really lovely feeling.
Okay, so that was your honeymoon. So what happened then? You came home and was like, yeah, I need to get naked.
That's right, yeah. So the minute we got back to the UK, we were trying to sort of find venues and clubs that we'd go to. Bearing in mind it was quite a while ago, but we did find quite a few, and we went along to some events and they were really good. And it gained my confidence within the naturist community. And I think for Michael it's different because he's a man, and I think men find it slightly easier, whereas women find it a little bit more challenging. But by then I didn't care. I was really like, wow, this is amazing. And I felt so confident in myself. So it was brilliant.
So you mentioned earlier on about having some body issues. Tell us a little bit about those.
Okay, so when I was younger, I used to be, when I was at school, I felt I was really, really fat, and I did have massive issues with it. I was bullied at school because of it. And I would go to school in massive clothes to hide my body because I felt that, I was really huge, and it wasn't. It was just the fact that I was developing, and I just felt really worried. So I would put these great big clothes on, and I would get so bullied about the shape of my body. I had breasts, I had curves, and also just didn't feel comfortable about being me. I just felt really alien. My body was alien to me.
Is that because you were doing puberty earlier than everybody else, do you think?
Yeah, I believe so. I started very young. I started when I was 10. I started my period, and I started to develop breasts, and all the other girls in my class were just all flat chested, and they didn't understand why I kept going off to the toilet, maybe, because I had my period. And it was all very confusing. And as I got older, obviously I realised that it wasn't anything to be worried about, but at the time it felt really uncomfortable.
But I suppose that you learned quite early on then, where some girls don't, that women grow in different rates and in different ways. Curves are normal.
That's right. I think as you do develop, and they just didn't understand that. And I understand that they didn't understand that. But at the time, it felt really, really, a massive issue for me.
So would you say then that the naturism or being naked has developed your body image?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I feel that, my body confidence and my body, that I am who I am now and accept myself for who I am. And I come with lumps, bumps, a bit of tummy, all that sort of stuff. But that is me, and I am of the attitude now, whereas, this is what I am. And if you don't like it, we're all different, we're not all the same.
So would you say your attitude towards your self-image changed 20 odd years ago when you discovered naturism?
Initially, no, but yes, after a while, I gained that. I think after a while, I've been, going into that situation where I was naked and there were other people, and we all just like-minded people socialized together, felt so much more comfortable in my own skin, and I didn't have to feel worried or, like someone judging me or looking at me in a strange way. They just accepted me for who I was.
What do you think? I mean, I keep saying naturism, but we're broadcasting to the whole world. So some people say naturism, some people say nudism. Do you think there's a difference?
I don't think so. I think naturism is a more sort of a European term for what we do. And, I think it's naturism just sort of describes a more sustainable life. And personally, I prefer to use if you're going to use labels, naturist. Maybe in America, places like that, they tend to use nudism more. I think they're just the same word, really.
Pretty much. We just like getting
Yeah.
our clothes off and loving the skin we're in. So you're very passionate about naturism and it's pretty much part of your daily life. What does a typical day look like?
Well, I try and be as naked as I can, obviously weather permitting. I live on a boat, so sometimes it can be a bit cold. We do have heating, but yeah, again, if I want to wear a jumper, I'll wear a jumper. But I try and do as many things as I can naked because I feel healthier for it. I just feel like my skin feels healthier because I can just take my clothes off and feel all the elements and everything, even inside, it's just nice to have the air on your body rather than just be covered in clothes all the time.
And I also know you hate bras.
Yes, I hate bras. Yes, that's another thing. Yeah, I don't wear a bra unless I really, really need to, which is very rare. I hardly ever wear one. And yet again, I think that's more a confidence thing that I've learned over the years. It doesn't matter, that if your, shall we say, nipples are showing, that's not my issue. That's someone else's issue.
Yeah, but you also think there's some health benefits to not wearing a bra, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, not wearing a bra can actually help with the lymphatic drainage in your breasts. So you're better off just not wearing one. Even if you just do it when you come home from work, take off your bra just for a few hours. If you really don't want to not wear one all the time, but if you just take it off and just have a break from it, that would be good.
Even me, actually, when I was textile or before naturism, the first thing I did when I got in from work was whip the bra off. The relief to let them be free. On a serious note, I think both you and I have had issues or scares with breasts, haven't we? I mean, for me, being top free a lot of the time, I'm very aware of any changes in my breasts, their appearance, their feeling. And I was lucky enough to have a lump that was not sinister, but because I was familiar with my body, I was able to get action on it straight away. You had something similar, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right. I found a lump in my right breast and it really worried me because there was no history of breast cancer in my family, but I was really worried. So I had a biopsy done. Luckily, it was a cyst, but if I was textile, I probably wouldn't have noticed that, to be honest, because it was quite near my nipple. And I regularly check my breasts, like I'm sure other people do as well, but I do check my breasts quite regularly just to make sure. And I'm of an age now where I don't have periods anymore. So, you don't feel any changes as such, like hormonal when before a period or something. But, I do make sure that everything is in order there. And I didn't feel quite right either. I felt quite sort of unwell. So that's when I went to the doctor and they sent me to the hospital to have a biopsy done. And luckily it came back okay, but it's a real worry, and if you're not regularly checking your breast, because some people will just wear a bra and then some of the underwire bras can start digging in, and a lot of people are worried that they don't want to go to the doctor because they think oh my god, you might have left it too late, or they find a lump and they're just too worried to go, but I'd say go if you need to go.
Yeah, 100%. And glad you're okay and glad I'm okay. But I think it's
Mm.
very easy when you are naked to be aware of any changes all over your body. The same applies to men. When they're naked, they will notice changes. So it's, again, another health benefit. So what drives you, Fiona, to promote naturism in the way that you do? Because I know that you've been on telly, done radio work, written work. What drives you to do that?
Well, I think it's more to promote the naturism. It's just seeing people that have come from sort of like wearing clothes all the time to being completely naked. And they all say to me, I wish I'd done this like 20 years ago. You cannot describe to someone who's never done it before how you're going to feel unless you actually do it. But that is what I get out of it. I get that kick of like, wow, they've actually taken that step and become naked and really, really love it. And I've never heard someone going to me, oh God, I hate this. I want to put my clothes back on again. And then they obviously down the road get all the other benefits like we've discussed about the health and, and feeling everything on your body. And your mental well-being, it is that release of, wow, look at what I'm doing. And it makes you feel amazing. It's like cold water swimming, anything like that. It's really, really positive thing to do, I think.
Yes, for me as well. It's the feeling that I might be helping someone else by sharing my story, sharing, being present, and that it's okay to be a bit wobbly here and there. And yeah, I'm nearly 50, but that's okay. I don't have to look a certain way in order to validate myself as a woman.
Yeah, definitely. You're not you're not fitting into a type, are you? You are your own person. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, and it's also not to say that we don't care what we look like and we don't have insecurities, because I certainly do, but it might not look that way, but I certainly do. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I still have insecurities, but not like I used to. And I try and look at everything more positively now. And in the past, I was quite negative about my body, and I used to really, really feel, oh, my body's not good enough to be out. But now I don't give them. I really love my body, and that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's the only one you've got. You might as well love it. Are there any challenges that women face within naturism?
Yeah, I think there are quite a few challenges that women face. So in naturism, there does tend to be a high percentage of male participants, and it can make it feel very overwhelming for some women. And I think, women feel they're going to be judged about body shape and just worried about they may be walking into something they're not sure about, maybe walk into a sexual environment and feel vulnerable when they're naked because they don't know that if they've never done naturism, they don't know what they're walking into. And I think it's just, you've got to have somebody with you, I think. I think it's got to be confident to go there with you, I think, to be naturist for the first time.
Yes. Yeah. For me, it was with my husband. Yeah, I didn't know what to expect. And I think the hardest thing for me initially was seeing all the other naked people. But once I'd got over that and got used to that, I just realized they were like normal people doing everyday things and couldn't give a stuff on my bits or anybody else's bits. And that was my moment, I think, when I realized that there was nothing sexual about it. These people are not weird. They're just going about their business with just no clothes on. And I think that's what society doesn't understand. But like you said earlier, until you actually go to an environment like that, you won't understand. And that's what drives me to promote naturism, make people understand it better. And more importantly, to understand what naturism isn't. It isn't a highly sexed environment. It's completely unsexy, actually. So you mentioned, Fiona, that you're on a boat currently. So you're living on a boat. Tell me why.
Okay, right. So we live on this 70-foot narrowboat, Michael and myself. A couple of years ago, we decided to go off and travel around Europe in a transit van, living and visiting naturist venues abroad and doing reviews on them on YouTube. But we came back to the UK because we had to because of the Brexit rule. And when we came back, we thought we don't have actually anywhere to live. And in the UK, living in a van is not that easy. So Michael always toyed with the idea of living on a narrowboat. And I said, that would be fantastic. But then we also thought, why don't we make it a business as well? So we thought it's quite cozy, but you can have naked people on it. So we thought, why don't we do a naturist narrowboat hotel, which we have done. And people are welcome to come along and join us on the narrowboat. But yeah, that's why we did it, because we had needed a base and we also wanted to run a business from home. So that is our reasons behind it. But we've had some guests on here and it's been absolutely amazing. There are stretches along the canals where people can be naked. On the whole, it's great, and people love it because it's just quirky. It's different.
I do know. I have been on your boat and it was very nice. You've got two sort of bedrooms either end of the boat and they're pretty self-contained. So you can socialise if you want to, like in the middle of the boat, or you can keep yourself quite contained if you want to, can't you?
Yeah, you can, and that's the beauty of it. You're not sort of encroaching on people. You're not going to be all crammed together as people think it's a narrow boat. So it's going to be very small. It is a small space, but it's not. You're not on top of each other, so to speak. And also, I do massage as well. So if anybody wanted to have a massage, they can do that as well. Michael teaches yoga, so if it's a nice day, you could be on top of the boat, depending on the weather. But yeah, I mean, it's just a different experience for people, and the bonus is you can be naked on the boat.
Can people be naked and have a massage by you?
Absolutely. I mean, I prefer to do it naked, to be honest. It's just when people wear knickers and bras. I mean, bras is silly because you need to take them off. Otherwise, you can't do massage someone's back very well. But yeah, I prefer to do it naked. It just makes it easier for me. I have to hasten to add, I am actually not naked when I massage, but that's just for professional reasons.
You know us women, and you know my story, that it took years and years for Simon to eventually get me to try naturism. Now, there was loads of barriers in place for me. What barriers do you think other women face, put off trying naturism, or, just not even consider it?
I think a lot of women have got really preconceived ideas about naturism and being naked generally. A lot of women are loath to try it because they do feel, like I say, that there might be a bit of a predatory element to it if they went with lots of men there. And like I say, there is an imbalance, but it's getting better. And we are trying to encourage more women into naturism. And I think if we could do, more activities to help encourage women into naturism and make the nudity slightly separate, I think that might be a good idea and encourage more women into it.
For example?
Doing something like making cakes, for instance, and having a cake competition and raising money for a breast cancer charity, making the event anything really like that. And it really, really helps to sort of raise the profile of naturism. Or even, like doing an outside activity like a beach clean, because that's helping the environment. And also, I think more women would like to do that. I think men would do, but I think more women would be more interested in that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think the idea of getting women together where nudity is incidental. So the event itself would be your cake making or your skinny dipping. Obviously, you've got to be nude for a skinny dip. The clue's in the title. A lot of women have said to me, I just don't have the body for naturism. Good for you that you can do it, but I don't have the body for it. What would you say to somebody who said that to you?
I just say, you've just got to give it a go, and we're all different. Like I've said previously, we don't all come in like supermodel sizes. We all have our lumps and bumps and scars, and it's just interesting how people think that you have to look like a certain way to be accepted on, to go on the beach or something or go on holiday. And it's I find it really, really weird when people say that to me. But in the same way, I can understand why they're saying it. But I would just say to them, like, just come and give it a go, put your clothes back on, but if you don't like it.
Yeah, exactly. And I say the same. I say, you've got a body, therefore you can be a naturist.
Yeah.
One of the other great things I like about naturism is the fact that people don't judge you. You're just accepted for who you are.
Yeah, we found that massively, like I experienced that myself, the clothes do make a difference. If someone's wearing clothes, you'll just look at them and think, oh, he works in a bank or she works, I don't know, in a shop, but if you've got no clothes, you don't know what people do. And I think also you'll find in a naturist environment, you'll never be lonely. Everyone wants to come and talk to you and be friendly. I've never come across anyone that's really grumpy or miserable. So it's a very positive thing. Everyone wants to be happy.
Yeah, because it's a leveler. We're all on the same playing field. We're all vulnerable, if you like, but we've all got the understanding that we're naked, we are free, and therefore all the judgments, all the misconceptions have gone along with the clothes. I love it.
Exactly.
But I do think in the wider society that, women have been sexualized. The female body has been sexualized over the years. I think clothes sexualize the body. When you think of shows like Love Island, where they've barely got a bikini on and your butt cheeks hanging out and your boobs squished together. So women would probably get, I don't have that Instagram body, or I don't have the Love Island body. But how can we, as women, start trying to desexualize the female form? I mean, obviously, it's just a body, right?
Yeah, no, I get that. I think, if you can spend more time being naked, okay. But also, I think it's good if you've got a family, bring your children up to sort of appreciate naturism, just walking around doing normal things in the house, being naked. And I think, I mean, I grew up and my parents used to walk around the house with nothing on. And I never occurred to me because I didn't know any different, but it was never an issue for me. And I think also they need to be brought up to respect women and not objectify them. Children do, because I think that's a big problem actually. And like things like breastfeeding, that's something that's quite natural, but people make that something it isn't as well. And I think the more you normalize it, the easier it is for everybody, really. But I think that's the thing. If you've got a family, you bring them up as they're not worried about what other bodies look like, women and men. There's no issue then, I don't think. And I think that's how you stop this. You desexualize it, because it's not sexual. It's just people walking around with no clothes on.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think with children, they are taught that the body is shameful. And it's very healthy for children to realise that all bodies are very different, and you don't have to look a certain way in order to exist. You're just, all bodies are normal and perfectly acceptable. But what can men do to help desexualise or de-objectify the body?
I think with men, I think it is really just trying to sort of keep them as an equal and show respect towards other women, and not sort of like when they come into maybe a naturist environment. I mean, we all look at our faces, we don't ever look at anything else. But I think that's what needs to happen over the whole board. Look, men and women need to be equal.
Yes, they do say in a naturist environment, you can tell the colour of people's eyes because eye contact is a given. What advice have you to offer anybody thinking of naturism?
Okay, so I think start at your home, just, doing something you do every day, like making a cup of tea, or, when you have a shower, don't get dressed really quickly afterwards, just sort of get dry and then walk around the house. And then if you really want to go and try it at a club or a venue, take somebody who's already done it before and take them as a bit of a sort of confidence boost for you. So you've got someone there that you can fall back on if you're worried, or, but like I said to you before, I think the more women that can get out there and just give it a go, like I say, the worst thing you can do is put your clothes back on again. But I think that's what I would say.
Yeah, and the amazing friendships that I've developed in the last 3 years since trying naturism is incomparable to sort of textile friendships. It's different, isn't it? I can't quite explain it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think, that you always find in a naturist friendship that you've always got someone there for you. I think, I mean, yeah, I know it happens in textile, but more so in naturist. And I'm sure everyone's there for each other, and that's how I feel. I think you could just ring up somebody and say, oh, I need this help. Nick, oh, yeah, what do you want me to do? And there's nothing's ever too much trouble for them, and I just think that's a fantastic community.
Yeah, where everyone's got each other's back as well, which is awesome. Now, we did discuss that you've been into naturism for a good 20 odd years. Have you seen any changes in those 20 years? I can't compare. I'm only 3 years in. I'm a newbie.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of changes. I think people are becoming more open about naturism, as in talking about it, with their friends. I mean, we tell everybody that we are, and sometimes we get a good response. Sometimes we get people that go, "Oh my God, I don't know how you can do that," and all sort of stuff. But I've also seen being more open, sort of like from a point of view of advertising naturism. It's more public. I think it's more public, and you can be like quite open about it. Say, "Oh, this weekend I'm going to a naturist club," and people are intrigued. They want to know what you're doing and what happens there, all that sort of stuff. Whereas before, it was very much like you would never say something like that because you were really worried about it just was a bit taboo then, but now it is something that I think that's a change. I think massive change, that people are more open about it, and they oh yeah, the naturist thing, oh yeah, I don't know much about it, but could you tell me? And they want to know, so they ask questions, which is fantastic.
Yeah, and then they realise it's not what they're thinking at all. It's actually boring. But no, I
Yes.
unsexy and
Very
boring.
much so.
No, but I think even in the short time that I've been a naturist, and I've been sort of, because I'm very passionate about it and it's done me the world of good in terms of confidence, mental health, well-being, that's why I'm shouting about it. And I don't care who knows, because as far as I'm concerned, I'm proud of it. It's nothing to be ashamed of. And it mystifies me where people don't tell their families or, lie about, they're going to a naturist place, but they're telling the family they're going somewhere else. I don't understand it. It baffles me.
It's mad. It's really mad. I just
Or if
don't
I just
understand
lost the plot and I'm just like, naturism, yes, maybe I've taken a jump out of society. I don't know.
No,
Do you-
I think you're very good. I think it's great that you feel so proud about your body. And it's like me, like I'm really, people go to me, oh my God, would you do this? Would you do that? I'm like, yes, because I want to make sure lots more people get involved in naturism, male and female. But yeah, it'd be great, and that's why I say, just love your body and make sure people know what you're doing. Don't hide it.
Be proud. I think if we don't, if we don't make a noise or talk about it and be present, then no change will happen. Things will remain the same. So by being an ambassador, if you like, as you are, then, it's part of our everyday life, and we're talking about it every day, or we're thinking of ways to encourage more women into naturism, or people, or just so that it becomes normal and people aren't considering naturism as weirdos. Do you have any further thoughts on that?
I think, it is. It's just education and getting the right message out there. If we can all do a little bit, to talk about, I mean, we've got people in different countries that talk about it. We've got Linda, for instance, who's really, ambassador for women in naturism. Lots of other people as well. But if we all, I think it's the louder you shout and the more people you can involve, the better it will be. And we can't all hide away. And that's how I feel about it. I think you just got to be loud and proud.
Amazing.
And then we will get more people, and it will become the norm, as it were, like for people to just think, well, what am I doing this weekend? Oh, I'm going down to, to have a skinny dip. Oh, can I cut? That sort of thing, rather than going, oh, right, I don't want to do that. It will become accepted over time, but it is getting there. It's getting there, I think.
Yeah, well, I agree with you, Fiona, and carry on doing what you're doing. Thanks for coming on. It's been great talking to you.
Thanks very much, Helen. Nice to speak to you.
So I want to tell you a little bit more about British Naturism. BN, as it's affectionately known, is an internationally recognised UK national naturist organisation to provide education and understanding, really, of what naturism is all about, and more importantly, what it isn't. We exist to unite and support naturists, to protect and provide more naturist venues, to make social nudity acceptable in the UK, and to provide comprehensive information on naturism around the world. BN was formed some 60 years ago, so lots of celebrations happening this year to commemorate the 60 years of British naturism. These days, a lot of naturists think they don't need an organisation, but collective action makes things happen. We run events in loads of different locations, and we help new groups and naturist venues to get off the ground. We liaise with and challenge sometimes government and other authorities to help overcome misunderstandings and prejudice against naturism. This can be via the media, whether that's in print, on radio. We try and make a presence wherever we can in a campaigning bid to normalise naturism. As part of our campaigning strategy, we've collaborated with the charity British Heart Foundation. So together we can achieve our mutual goal of keeping people healthy and fit. With the British Heart Foundation, we've organised naked heart walks, and in 2023 we've done quite a few where we walk on the grounds of stately homes or gorgeous gardens in the UK, where, naturists can just get together, have a nice walk and raise some money for the charities. Another fundraising event is Great British Skinny Dips. That's a great one for people who haven't tried naturism before to just come along, have a swim, without your swim costume. It's the most wonderful feeling. If you've never done a skinny dip before, I 100% recommend it. You certainly don't want to go back to a swimming costume after that. To find out more about the Naked Heart Walks, you can visit nakedheartwalk.org.uk, and to find out more about the Great British Skinny Dips, it's greatbritishskinnydip.co.uk. And of course, there's always British Naturism's website, bn.org.uk. We'd love to hear from you at Women in Focus. So if you'd like to get in touch, you can email us at womeninfocus@bn.org.uk, or for more information, you can log on to bn.org.uk/womeninfocus. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope that you'll join us again next month as we put more women in focus.